I'm a Mississippi racer. Might as well. I'm walking through a ghost town, y'all ain't playing my sounds. Don't tell me to calm down, don't tell me to calm down. Only time I go backwards is when I wanna moonwalk. Don't test me, my mood's wrong. Don't test me, my mood's wrong. We are who we say that we are. You were lost in the stars, and it's all from the start. Never running no pace, never on the right page. But we still read that book, and we still run that race. Ay, Mississippi racer riding out, no shortcuts, no time for that. Mississippi racer riding out till the wheels fall off, I'm driving that. Mississippi racer riding out, we'll stop burning, strike the match. Mississippi racer riding out, red light, green light, red light, good night. Ay, red light, green light, red light, good night. 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 Time to chill, don't sweat it.
Good morning and welcome. It is Coffee and Sports. It is the morning show powered by Wire to Wire Network. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning routine. I am Chris, and that, of course, over there is Mo. Mo, happy Friday, sir.
Happy Friday to you and everybody out there listening right now. And Tiger played pretty well. He played pretty well.
Hey, I saw him birdie hole one, and I'm like, hey now, this is what I like to see. He played out of some tough situations. He saved a couple of holes that I thought he was going to bogey, which he didn't have to bogey because of how he played them, Mo. It wasn't by any means a flawless round for Tiger, right, but it was a competitive round for Tiger. And I think when you look at someone that has not finished for their last 6 major tournaments, and someone who in the 2 that he has finished, he has not finished top 40. One, you want him to finish the Masters. I think your first goal is for him to get through. Today is going to be a challenge for him. He is going to play 23 holes of golf today, which means he is going to be doing a lot of walking. And I know that sounds silly to say, but if you have ever experienced lower back issues, walking a golf course for 23 holes is probably not on the top of your list of things that you want to do, much less the actual physical strain of the actual golfing. Correct. So it's a lot on the lower back, especially for someone that has gone through the difficulties that he has. But Mo, we're going to take things one step at a time. And when play ended yesterday, Tiger Woods was 1 under par. He was top 20 in the field. It was a competitive round, and he had a handful of quality moments yesterday.
And I'll take that. If Tiger's competitive and he's in it, I'll take that. I think people don't realize, or maybe some do, all the injuries that he's dealt with his legs, with his back. And again, this isn't 28-year-old Tiger. This is 48-year-old Tiger. So the fact that he's in the hunt, as a fan, I'm going to ride with him until the wheels fall off.
And we're hoping the wheels don't fall off is all we're saying. We're hoping the wheels do not fall off. The Masters has resumed. It picked up about an hour ago, 8 a.m. Eastern time this morning. Tiger is on the course. He is currently +1 on the day, so he is even for the tournament, currently tied in 29th. Looking at our leaderboard, DeChambeau? Brett's DeChambeau? Is it Brett? B. DeChambeau. I feel like it's Brett. I'm pretty confident it's Brett, Mo. But DeChambeau is your leader, 7 under. And then the favorite coming in, Scotty Scheffler. He has not teed off yet today. That's coming on this afternoon for him, 1:48 p.m. He is 6 under. He entered the day in second place. Since then, Homa has come up and also hit 6 under. So he is currently tied with Scotty Scheffler for second place. Mo, they're predicting a big day from Scotty today, apparently. And again, I don't know, Mo. I don't know. But apparently day 2s are his thing. Apparently day 2s on courses that he is good at, that is when he really shines. I'm just going to assume that when the Golf Channel tells me Scotty Scheffler shines on day 2. He probably is going to shine on day 2, Mo.
I'm where you're at. I actually did scan through a couple of articles.
It's Bryson. Gosh darn it. It's Bryson, not Brett.
DeChambeau.
I was close.
But what I know of Scotty is basically they see him as the next guy. They're looking at him like he's a Luka or an SGA or somebody of that nature. So that's what I know in terms of comp or comparisons. But if you're asking me to go deeper than that, yeah, I can't really do that.
Listen, we love all sports. We are Tiger Woods fans. We're proud of that. And we cannot sit here and break down golf. We're going to comment on it. We're going to do the best that we can. And we're going to talk a little Tiger Woods. That's what you're going to get out of the morning show. If you're looking for a deeper dive into the world of golf, unfortunately, we need you to go somewhere else on the Wire to Wire network to get that. Because
we do.
We're not going deep. We're waiting in the shallow end, Mo.
Yeah. Well, I'm just treading water, literally just treading water when it comes to that. Look, at some point, there may well be a guy who comes onto the Wire to Wire network, and we have a golf pro who can break things down. And I would love to have him come on and talk while you and I just nod our head. That'd be fantastic. But until then, I'm just going to tell you that Chris, and I are rooting for Tiger. That's as deep as I can really go.
We need like the JG of the golf world.
Wow, yes.
Right? Like the JG of PGA. That's all I'm saying.
Is there a JG of that? That'd be interesting to hear a guy just break it down like that.
It might be JG. He plays golf. I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't.
Some of the biggest news from yesterday is actually some sad news. The world of sports lost a polarizing figure, if you will, in O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson passed away at the age of 76 years old after a pretty private battle with cancer. We knew that he was dealing with cancer. He had made a video about it in May of last year. He popped up in February before the Super Bowl, rooting for the 49ers, said he was in good health, didn't look particularly like he was in great health. But who are you to tell a man that he's not in good health if he's saying he's in good health? But clearly he had some issues that were going on. And unfortunately, he did pass away. Mo, it's such a challenging conversation because we look at it from the sports side of it. And from the sports side of it, he is without question a legend in the world of football. He parlayed his football career into a very successful media career. He was in commercials. He was in movies. He was very much a sports athlete, Hollywood figure after his retirement from the NFL. But of course, we have the entire situation with the most infamous murder trial, really, of all time, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And that, of course, has been brought to light. There was no update as far as an omission or any other words from him about that situation prior to his passing. I know that in recent years, people have wondered, before he goes, will he shed more light on it? Will he say he did it? Will he acknowledge anything? He did not. And that is coming from the other side, the Goldman side of it. They have received word from whoever is on OJ's side that there was nothing announced. There was nothing said prior to his passing. And Mo, he still owes them millions and millions of dollars from the civil lawsuit from the murders that he has not paid. So I know that people yesterday were a little upset with the Goldman family because they were very transparent. They came out and said they're already looking into the assets that he has left behind. They are looking to recoup as much as they can based on whatever his net worth was at this time of his passing. People thought that was insensitive. I need to remind people they lost a human as well. Obviously, OJ passed. That's a losing of a human being. They also lost a human being many, many years ago, and they blame him for that loss. So you know, it's a very sensitive subject. There's a lot of emotions involved here. We've discussed on the show before separating kind of the work of the artist from the artists themselves. Obviously, a lot more challenging in the O.J. Simpson situation. Obviously, with his passing, Mo, the chase has been all over TV the last 24 hours, reliving the Bronco chase. I didn't even know this. Bob Costas was on CNN last night. Apparently, O.J. called him from the Bronco during the chase back in the 90s because O.J. felt that he was being portrayed negatively on the news during the chase, and he was hoping that his good friend Bob Costas would go on the air and just present another side of OJ as the entire. I know.
What is Bob Costas gonna do? Go on the air and go, well, he's only doing 40 miles an hour, so he's not trying to get away. I'm just saying, how do you make that look better?
But it's just so fascinating though, Mo, because and Bob was very transparent when he was talking about this yesterday. He goes, it's very fortunate that OJ never got in touch with me that day. He goes, had he got in touch with me and had he wanted to come on the air to present another side to it, he goes, I would have asked him straightforward, did you do it? And he goes, he likely would have said no. And he goes, and my next question would have been, then what are you doing? Why are you in the situation you are in right now if you didn't do it? And he goes, I don't know how he would have responded to that. He goes, but those are the first two questions I would have asked. He goes, obviously it would have probably transpired into a conversation of me asking him to just stop and let it end peacefully and not to do anything brash as far as taking your own life. He goes, I wholeheartedly believe as a journalist, had that conversation happened, had he been patched through, had he found me that day, those are the first two things I would have asked him. And he goes, and I don't know if he would have appreciated that, which, Mo, he probably wouldn't have in that situation.
He would not have. Look, I know when we did the show a couple of weeks back and we kind of reflected on Chris Benoit's career and should WWE honor him, and we both pretty much said no. There's just so the thing about the OJ situation makes it more difficult to adjust to, and has kept it polarizing all this time is he was acquitted.
Yeah, he was.
He was acquitted, and so at the time, let me be really, really honest to everybody out there that's listening. At the time, I have to admit, as the trial was playing out, man, probably everybody in my neighborhood at least was like, they're trying to frame him. They're trying to frame him. And as you get older and you can reflect on it, what I got out of it really was I think they tried to frame a guilty man, and they didn't have to. They didn't have to. Like, that's what I came away with. He was acquitted not because necessarily the jury thought he was innocent. I think he was acquitted because the jury felt the LAPD did such a poor job, and they ended up being on trial more than he was, and that's why he was acquitted. I don't know if anybody truly walked away going like, yeah, he didn't do it. I walked away thinking he didn't do it alone. That's how I felt. And so when you think about his life afterwards and the way he lived it and the whole facade about I've just spent my whole life looking for the killers, and that whole thing about he's still looking for the killers over, and that used to drive me crazy. So he passes yesterday, and my first thought was I just shrugged my shoulders. I was like, well, okay. Because why it's a loss of life, but it's a loss of life of someone who most of us would think at his core was a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bad person. Never mind them. If you go back to what he did over the course of his marriage to Nicole Brown Simpson, he was a wife abuser. He was it was constant issues of domestic violence and things of that nature. So I don't think it's a leap to think that sadly it resulted in the tragedy that it did and ended the way it did. I think obviously he was a great football player, and he was great through when he was at USC with Buffalo, and he transitioned and became a great ambassador for the league, had endorsement deals with Hurts. I get all that, but when you think of him now, the first thing that comes to my mind, it's not that he was a great football player. It was that he got away with a double murder. I don't think who's going to really sit down in a bar somewhere and go, Mo, he did rush for 2,000 yards. I don't want to hear that, man. I don't want to hear that. I just, because in the end, like you said, when people go, well, the Goldmans are being insensitive, their son was murdered.
Yeah.
He's gone. They're not being insensitive. This guy lost a civil case and has not paid a dime. They're not being insensitive. You know what they're being? They're being relentless and being advocates for their dead son. Mm-hmm. I got no problem with that at all. None.
I was 8 years old when this all happened. So for me, I had no clue who O.J. Simpson was. I knew he was a football player. That's all I knew. And for most of my, teenage life, that's what it was. Oh, he was a great football player who I never saw play a down of football. And he made this really poor choice, and he got away with murder. As I've gotten a little older, I've kind of come to appreciate the situation that the prosecution was in, because he wasn't just a great football player. He wasn't just a Hall of Famer. He was well known by people who weren't even in the world of sports. He was really one of the first transcendent athletes to cross into the world of Hollywood. He was a good-looking guy. He lit up a room when he came into it. He had the $1 million smile. And I get it, Mo. Like you said, sometimes everything you need is right in front of you. Just follow the map and deliver what you need to. But when you go back and you watch the documentaries about the trial, it seems so much like they were so scared that they weren't going to get the result that they knew they needed to get, that they were just doing things just to kind of to pad it, right? Just to make sure that it goes the way it was supposed to go, because even it being 99% looking like it was going to go that way, it looked like there was a fear that because who he was and his celebrity and his charm, that the 1% was too much, and they just had to do the extra stuff. And then the rest is history. The glove, the nonsense, and here we are.
Oh, man, I watched that trial, and I saw that scene where they had him try on the gloves. And look, I know this is the day after he passed, but I'm going to be real. I think that was the best acting of his career.
Oh, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
The way he expanded his hands, and he was like, making noises, and
showing the glove off, the shrugging of the shoulders, like he didn't know what to do.
Right. Like, what can I do? They don't fit. Like, I was like, wow. Why? There were so many moments, and obviously there have been major trials throughout the history of our country. That's the first one that I watched, Chris. I couldn't walk away from it every day. Every day. You're just locked in on it, and you knew all the characters: F. Lee Bailey, Johnny Cochran, Barry Scheck. I knew all of those dudes. Like, they became stars themselves. And then the witnesses, the weird witnesses like Kato Kaelin and all that. I mean, all of that stuff. Even the judge, Ito seemed like he was overwhelmed, like he was out of his depth. I think nobody was prepared on both sides for how epic the trial was. Except Johnny Cochran, who took it as an opportunity, like his eyes lit up, like, this is it for me. This is it. For Johnny Cochran, this was it for him. And he's a terrific lawyer, but I think that he took advantage of the prosecution's missteps.
Mm-hmm. And if you look, I mean, that's what, 30 years ago. Since then, I can think of one, and it was recent, and that was the Johnny Depp trial. I can't think of another case that captivated just random Americans to make them. I mean, with the Johnny Depp stuff, Mo, it wasn't as big as OJ, obviously, but you had people that were at work streaming the Johnny Depp trial because they just couldn't get enough of the circus that was that trial. And not as heavy handed as murder, obviously, but
Right.
still pretty heavy-handed stuff with the claims and the accusations that were being leveled against Depp. And it was the same thing. The prosecution, they were idiots. The woman on Johnny's defense team was an all-star. She made her name on that trial. Watching Amber take the stand, that was a circus. Watching Johnny take the stand was a comedy routine. Like you couldn't look away from every moment of that trial. And when you look back at that and you're like, well, when's the last time this happened? It was OJ, where you couldn't look away from it. It was must-see TV every step of the way. And and you look back at it today and you're not going to sit here. And obviously, we don't like any loss of human life.
We don't.
But you're not going to sit here and say, man, the world lost a little. You're not going to say that. You're not. You're just going to look at it for, I feel bad for those who loved him and for those who are hurting because he is no longer here. But at the same time, I know there's plenty of people that aren't hurting. And there's plenty of people that this was all they had, Mo. This moment when it finally came was all they had to have a small piece of comeuppance, because they've gotten nothing since that trial 30 years ago to repair any of the damage that was done to them.
And if you listen to the statement by I think Ronald Goldman, like he said, he was like still knowing that my son's killer never actually confessed, never,
Right.
no admission. I and my heart goes out to that family. Like it's weird because OJ passes, but for them, and Nicole Brown Simpson's family, for them, it goes on. The hurt goes on. The sorrow goes on. Because, like you said, the trial itself was so massive. It's long past, but it's got so much residual effects throughout our country. Don't forget, I mean, granted, you were much younger than I was at the time, but I do remember that it was so polarizing that it did split people along racial lines.
Mm-hmm.
I will not forget the day after the verdict, going into the grocery store, and the manager, who we always had good conversations, got along, we talked sports, but she was just distraught. And I can't believe they let that murderer get away and people are celebrating. And I didn't know what to say to her. I didn't, because at the time I was like, I don't know, I thought it was the right verdict. But it was really divided like that, and it was really insane. And you think, okay, we'll never be that divided again. And I don't want to get too deep into this. This is a sports show, but we're kind of heading that way now.
Yeah,
and that's disappointing.
Mo, oftentimes when you have a legend that retires from a sport, there is always going to be, the first 2 or 3 years after they retire, are they going to come back? Could there be a moment where they come back? And 99% of the time, the things that are fueling those rumors have nothing to do with the player themselves, because the player is just enjoying retirement. They're just enjoying life after the time they put into that sport. Well, Mo, Tom Brady is just built different, because Tom Brady has decided, if somebody's going to fuel my return, my rumors, it's going to be me. Tom Brady went on to a show and he said that he's open, Mo. He is open to the idea of coming out of retirement for the right situation. If a starter goes down and they just need someone to fill in for the year or for part of the year, he's open to it. That's all he said. He didn't get too much further into it. He didn't start talking about teams. He didn't start talking about situations. He just laid the groundwork. If a starter were to go down, if a team needed someone to fill in for the year, I would be open to listening to the pitch. And here we go, Mo. We are off to the races. And I will tell you right now, Dallas Cowboy fans are hoping Dak goes down. Because if you want to get yourself a Super Bowl, let's be honest. You don't think if Dak goes down week 3 and he's going to miss the majority of the season, you don't think Jerry Jones isn't going to call Tom Brady? I'm not saying Tom will come back for Dallas, but you don't think he's not going to make that phone call with this being out there? Of course he's going to make that phone call.
For sure.
But Mo, keep in mind, Tom Brady is also not an idiot. Tom Brady is not going to come back and play for a dumpster fire. Tom Brady is not going to come back and play for a team unless he thinks they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Correct.
So once you open that equation, there's maybe 5, 6 teams out there that he would probably legitimately play for
sure
ever again. The Chiefs, the Niners. If Jalen Hurts went down, if Prescott went, I mean, there's 5 or 6 teams.
Let me throw one else out there. What if Aaron Rodgers goes down again? I'm just saying. Would that really in a weird way be like a double slap in the face for Aaron if Tom comes in there, wins the Super Bowl with the Jets, who haven't won anything since Joe Namath in the early 60s? If Brady does that, I mean, that's never mind what it does for Brady, but what does it do for Rodgers? Wow.
So let me ask you this, Mo. As a Niners fan, you've been to NFC Championship games the past decade and a half. You've been to Super Bowls the past decade. They haven't gotten to the ultimate end goal. If Purdy goes down week 8, they're 6-2, and Brady comes in and leads them to a Super Bowl ring. As a fan, how do you feel about it? Does it take away from it because it took Tom Brady to get you over that hump? Do you not care because it's a ring and you want one because that's your team? Like, what does that look like? Because that would potentially be the situation. The starting quarterback is going to go down, and unless it's Patrick Mahomes, who has already done it on his own, so it doesn't really matter if Brady comes in and wins one because they're used to winning them with Patrick. So it is what it is. But outside of the Chiefs, if you're looking at any other team besides the Rams with Matthew Stafford, he won one a few years ago. But outside of that, it seems like it might be a little awkward. If you want the ring, but you only got the ring because the GOAT came off the bench and was like, all right, let me get one more.
Right. Look, I think that I could see with some people will be like, oh, the Niners finally broke through, but it wasn't because of Shanahan. They got Brady. And, yeah, you could say that, but I would remind people, yeah, we got Brady, but this isn't 28-year-old Brady or 38-year-old Brady. This was, what is it, almost 50-year-old?
Pushing 50-year-old Brady.
Right. So your teams have the talent that it has. We have who we have. I don't think it's it's a Super Bowl. It elevates Brady even more. Not that he needed it, but if I'm a Niner fan, you're damn right I'm celebrating that Super Bowl win. And it's only weird for me in this sense that obviously being a lifelong Niner fan, and Brady has elevated himself past Joe Montana. It'll be one of those things where people want to say some weird thing like, so who's the greatest Niner quarterback of all time? Something odd like that. And I'll be like, it's still Joe Montana. I'm like, but yes, I would look. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. I don't care for some weird reason Flacco gets cut from where he's at and we pick Flacco up and he leads us to this. My whole thing as a fan is it's about the team and about being a fan. I want to win that Super Bowl. I am a lifelong Laker fan in basketball. My whole life, I've grown up watching the Lakers. But if Kobe Bryant had left the Lakers to go play in Chicago like it was rumored he wanted to go, I'm not going with Kobe. I'm still a Laker fan. I would acknowledge Kobe because he's a great player, but I'm rooting against him. I'm rooting for the Lakers. That's my loyalty is always with my team. I don't do the thing where, well, I left Chicago when Pippen left. Like, well, that's your dumbness. I'm not doing that. My team is my team. That's how I roll.
I agree. It would be weird as a Dolphin fan to see Tom Brady. I mean, let's be honest. The Dolphins wanted Brady 2 years ago. They went after him. They tampered. They lost first-round picks because of that. It would be weird just because of the history with Miami and Brady having played in the same division for as long as they have. But at the end of the day, Mo, I want the same thing that you want. I want a Super Bowl. And if Tom Brady were to bring that to Miami, because the Dolphins are, I don't know, 8-4, and Tua goes down, and they reach out to Brady, and Brady says, all right, let's do it. I'm there from day one. I would be there. I would buy a Brady jersey, and I would be there from day one. And you're right, Mo. What does it do to his legacy if he came back 2 years after retirement off the couch and led a team to a Super Bowl for another ring? I mean, at that point, it has to end the conversation, right?
What it means is no matter what Mahomes do, it won't be enough.
Because at that point, he has rings with 3 different teams.
Oh, my God.
He had a dynasty in New England and then was like, I'm not done yet, and went one in Tampa, then retires and is like, I'm not done yet, and comes back and wins one somewhere else. He would have to be the top guy at that point.
Not just elevate him because he's already the top guy, but now he just adds more separation between him and anybody else. And if he wins another ring, Chris, doesn't this in some way go, oh, that's another slight against Belichick?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Tom comes back and wins another one, Bill? Jesus,
and Bill's not even coaching in the
right?
league?
You're not even in the league? Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The rumor and innuendo continues in AEW, Mo. It's not getting any better. Tony Khan came out yesterday, and again, you know, there's business, and then there's bad business, and then there's why are you even in business? And he comes out yesterday, Mo, and he tweets, and he's tweeting about the numbers that the show did on Wednesday. And the show drew 818,000 people. It's the first time they've crossed the 800,000 mark since February. It's the highest that they've been the past 6 weeks as far as overall average goes. And it's a long tweet, and he's just putting numbers in there. He's hyping up how great the show was number-wise, and he's promoting some of the upcoming shows. And Mo, he's doing all of this on a backdrop where nobody is saying anything positive about them airing that video. People within AEW are apparently not happy about it. Dave Meltzer, who has basically been painted as an AEW fanboy, despite the fact that he is a journalist, said it was a terrible idea. There are talent within AEW who are rumored to want to be on their way out of AEW when their contract ends. That includes Hook, who is currently a title holder in AEW. He has openly said, I'm going to explore free agency when my contract expires this year. He is one of your current champions, and he is still a handful of months away from being a free agent, and he is already putting it out there, I'm looking elsewhere. That's not a good look if you are Tony Khan. We also found out that the whole Will Ospreay thing, the shot he took at Triple H, that was all Tony Khan. Tony Khan devised that promo because he wanted a shot taken at Triple H on Wednesday night via Will Ospreay. You look at this, Mo, and it's just like, and we talked about it off air yesterday. What do family dinners look like in the Khan family when you got Shad over here with the dumpster fire from a business standpoint, that is the Jacksonville Jaguars? You can't even get a golf cart for your franchise quarterback when he has a lower body injury. He has to hobble his way across the field to the tunnel.
That's crazy.
And then you got Tony over here, who you know goes to the family dinners and is like, guys, let me tell you what's going on in AEW. And you know they're just like, shh, We don't want to hear about your play business, okay? We're talking real business here at the table.
Right.
Like I said it yesterday. I'm gonna say it again today. What are we doing? Like, I get it. Maybe he really thought. I don't know why, but maybe he really thought the video was gonna go the way he wanted it to. Maybe he really thought the video was gonna paint CM Punk in this negative light, and people were gonna overlook his "I fear for my life" claims, and they were just gonna focus on CM Punk. Maybe that's what he really thought. Maybe he also thought it was going to get a pop in the ratings, which it did. But like you said yesterday, Mo, wrestling is a week-by-week product. He is going to have another show on Wednesday of this upcoming week. Oh, and by the way, there's not going to be this CM Punk video that everybody wanted to see. So are they going to pop 800,000 again? My guess is probably not. So good for you that for 1 week you crossed the 800,000 mark. By the way, you didn't even cross the mark of what you were averaging a year ago today. A year ago today, they were averaging about 860 to 70,000 a show. So your big moment didn't even get you to what you were averaging a year ago. So let's take that into consideration when we're talking business here, Mo. But maybe you thought it was the right move. Once you see it's not, just stop. Just don't talk. Don't go tweet numbers from the show. Just get to next week, and hopefully you do something great on TV next week and talk about that. Because you should be doing everything you can not to talk about this, which, by the way, Mo, they are. Because now they're going back retroactively and they're getting all the video footage from the show banned, because when they cut back to the live audience, what were they doing? They were chanting CM Punk. And that's a bad look too. So now you have all these videos out there taken from your broadcast that shows the incident, and then the cut back to the live crowd chanting CM Punk. But you can't find those videos anywhere now, Mo, because they've been copyrighted. AEW has put copyright claims in on all those videos because he doesn't want the CM Punk chants out there playing. You effed up, Tony. It was dumb. You made a mistake. You move on. Just stop it. Just stop it.
You move on. What you should be doing is highlighting terrific matches. Highlight Samoa Joe versus one of your other top stars. Highlighting, as you mentioned, Hook, who I think is eventually going to end up in WWE.
He is. He's a young kid, too.
He is, and he's one of those young kids, Chris. He's built for this business. Like, he would be a huge star in a much bigger star than he'll ever be in AEW. Like, he's one of those guys that when they talk about a new era, that he's perfect for that, because he literally is that new era. He's in his 20s and he's already a polished pro. So I just think somebody needs to get in Tony Khan's ear. Tony, we need to focus on our talent, focus on the matches. You need to stop talking. You need to stop tweeting. Just step back and be the owner, and let the people in charge of talent and booking and things of that nature handle that. Because this idea that you're in competition with WWE, you're not in competition with WWE. You're never going to be. But don't get me wrong, as a wrestling fan, I like the concept of AEW. It has a lane. If Tony were smart, embrace that lane and stay in it. It's really that simple.
And he did. They did that when they started. When Cody was over there, the whole idea was alternative. We have WWE. We have TNA Impact. We are going to be another alternative. And we're going to make a lot of noise over here. And we're going to do some fun and exciting things. Stop on by. If you like it, stay a while. If you don't like it, that's okay. Because we believe that there should be options out there. And they were successful when they were doing that. Well, before we get off this topic, just a fun little tidbit for you. Tony Khan has appointed Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, to be in charge of locker room politics. because there's a lot of dissension and infighting and cliques in the locker room, and he has turned to Brian to kind of be the person to handle all of that. So literally, Mo, it's the boys policing the boys, but yet Tony wants to call himself a visionary and, potentially bigger than Vince, and he has a wrestling empire, but yet the boys are policing the boys. And Mo, you know what happens when the inmates run the asylum. It doesn't usually end up being a successful operation. But hey, maybe Tony Khan is a mad genius and we're all idiots and we just don't see the vision.
Nah, maybe in time he'll come out and be able to say, I said it before anybody else said it. I did it before anybody else did it. But the idea that you're going to put Daniel Bryan in charge of the locker room politics, the fact that you have multiple cliques and you have that much dissension in your ranks, that's not really even about the performers. That's about the lack of leadership at the top of the organization. That's about Tony Khan.
Mo, we talked a little bit with JG yesterday about Shohei Ohtani, but more information has come out yesterday afternoon. Apparently, well, we knew it wasn't just $4.5 million. We knew it was more that was stolen. We just didn't know how much more was stolen, but now we do. It was just north of $16 million that this, I don't know how old he is, that this gentleman, Mizuhara, stole from Shohei Ohtani from a period of December 2021 through January of 2024. It was just over a 2-year period. Yeah, just over a 2-year period. He stole $16 million. And Mo, he wasn't really great at this whole gambling thing. In that 2-year period, he placed just north of 19,000 bets. And of those 19,000 bets, it's being reported that he had winnings that totaled $142.27 million. And he had losses that totaled $182.94 million for a total net loss of nearly $41 million. Mo, he would have been better off just stealing the $16 million and not doing anything else with it.
Right. You're a degenerate gambler, but so you're trying to win money. If you can get away with stealing $16 million and the guy doesn't know, you're good.
Just
stop right
the
there.
$16 million.
Right. Look, matter of fact, with $16 million, dude, just build your own casino. You're good. You can run it.
$16 million would have been a plus $57 million swing from where he ended up. Like, he ended up $41 million in the hole. He could have just been 16 in the green had he just not gambled it. And who knows? And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful of Shohei Ohtani, but if someone's robbing you blind of $16 million over a 2-year period because they turn the notification button off on your app, you deserve to have a little bit of judgment thrown your way. If I'm Mizuhara and I'm 16 million in and homeboy hasn't realized anything yet, just keep stealing from him.
Right. Why aren't you 30 million in?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, here's my thing. So he turned off his notifications on his phone that, hey,
maybe the email too. Maybe he got into the email as well.
I'm just saying there's 1,000 ways that a bank can contact you, especially with these large withdrawals. And I obviously Shohei has a ton of money, but at no time does he, like, when you pay for something or you get out a couple of $100 out of your bank account, it shows what's in the account, right? You don't think he looks down and go, I'm missing 16 million? Nothing? No, he didn't notice at all. Like, I know that MLB and the feds have put this to bed. By the way, we said they would, and they did.
We did.
I'm with JG. I find it hard to believe Shohei Ohtani may struggle with the English language, but he's a smart man. I think he has awareness about his money, about how his empire is being run. For him to not have no clue that 16 million, like, it's not just him. Remember, he's got an agent, he's got a man. None of them, they're like, Shohei, can't help but notice I'm getting notifications. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knew. And now, so Mizuhara is this genius, basically, this clever genius who's a degenerate gambler.
He pushed the button. I mean,
that's it. Turn off the net. Is it really that simple to steal from millionaires? Let me just turn off their notifications. They won't notice. Like, I didn't know it was that simple. Wow. Okay. Look, like I said, it's put to bed. We knew it would be put to bed. Most people are still going to have lingering questions because it just seems I think you have to be devoid of common sense for it to be that simple. I'll leave it at that.
And we don't know the inner workings of it. We don't know who else had access to his accounts. Maybe it was just him and Mizuhara. Maybe Mizuhara was his most trusted advisor, and he was the only other guy that had access to the funds and could see the funds. So, and I get it. It wasn't, $16 million at one time, but Mo, it was still large amounts, right? It had to be, 10, 20, 30. I mean, if you're winning 142 million and losing 180, you're not making $25 bets. You're putting down some change, and you're talking 19,000 bets over a 2-year period, folks. There's only 365 days in a year. Double that, and you're looking at what, just south of 800 days combined, and he's doing 19. He's making 3 or 4 bets a day, is what he's doing. So he's moving some funds. So like you said, if he's pulling out $400, $500, $600 at a time, yeah, Shohei may not notice. But he's probably pulling out 10, 20, 30, 40 large at a time. And Mo, he's making the bets every day, and he's not replenishing the money. It's not like he bets 40 grand, he wins 60, so he's putting it back in there to cover his tracks, just so he can take it out later. He's not doing that. So, at the end of a week, Shohei could easily be down $100,000, $200,000. And that's where I'm kind of like, well, yeah, maybe when you went in there on Monday, you didn't think things were weird. But when you go in there on Sunday, you didn't notice you were missing $250,000? Like, right. That's the stuff where I'm kind of like, all right. But Mo, MLB has decided to take it one step further. They have come out yesterday and said they are not going to make any decisions on the Shohei investigation until the entirety of the Mizuhara investigation is complete. And Mo, I would have to assume that includes the punishment, which means that MLB is just going to punt that can down the road until we are no longer thinking about it. And then there's just going to be a quick press release. Mizuhara has been sentenced to jail for X amount of years. It was very clear that he acted alone in this. And because of that, we are satisfied with the result of the investigation and will not be pursuing Shohei Ohtani any further. That's what's going to happen 3 or 4 months from now when Mizuhara gets his jail sentence for probably 15 plus years. And then I hope, like JG said, I hope when Mizuhara gets out, someone's keeping an eye on his accounts, because I'm sure that there's going to be a nice little account set up in the Caymans that has a few $1 million in it.
So it's going to go the other way around. Now somebody's going to be depositing large sums into his accounts. That's funny how that works.
It's funny how that works. Mo, Las Vegas came out with odds yesterday. It is the Bronny odds. Where is Bronny going to play? Which team is going to draft him? The Lakers are currently leading the Bronny odds at plus 400, with the Knicks right behind them at plus 800. Then you have the Heat and the Cavs. Are you seeing a trend here? Are you seeing a trend in the teams that are high up in the Bronny odds? The Lakers, where LeBron currently plays. Right. The Knicks, the team that always wanted LeBron James, but couldn't court him to go there. The Heat and the Cavs, the other teams that LeBron has played for, the Clippers, all that other LA team that would definitely benefit from a LeBron bump if he came there for a couple of years and played with Bronny. I don't know why the Hawks are on this list. I don't know why the Bulls are on this list. I don't know why the 76ers are on this list. The Warriors, though, they're on this list. LeBron has said he wants to play with Steph Curry. The Warriors tried to make a LeBron trade during the trade deadline this season. Mo, Bronny is going to go to a team that has some sort of LeBron James tie. Some random team isn't going to come out of the woodwork like the Atlanta Hawks and try to draft Bronny because LeBron's going to get word to the Hawks, I'm not playing for you. If you draft my son, I'm not coming. I'll be there to watch some games, but I am not suiting up as an Atlanta Hawk to end my career. People are going to know. Teams are going to know. The teams that LeBron would potentially try to get himself to, they're going to know there's an opportunity, and that's why they're going to make the move. Whoever drafts Bronny, LeBron's going to play for that team. And there's going to be backdoor conversations, and they're going to know well ahead of time, Mo, what they're getting themselves into. We may not know. We might be sitting here on the morning show X amount of months from now being like, can LeBron find a way to the Warriors? LeBron already would have had that deal set and done. We're just waiting for it to become public knowledge at that point, Mo.
Right. Look, I agree with you. Where Bronny goes, his father's going to find a way to be with him and play with him. He's going to fulfill that dream, right? We all know that. He's made that clear to everyone. And so I do think Golden State is in play. I do think the Cavs and Heat are in play. And I'm sure Jeannie has told Rob Pelinka, yeah, go ahead. Make sure you do that. The question is, though, in this situation, which of those teams is going to blink first? Because you still have to have the NBA draft, and you have to go, yeah, we want Bronny, but we're not going to select him with the 10th pick in the draft. He's not a lottery pick. So when do you blink if you've got what if you get the 15th pick in the draft? Do you blink then, or do you try to hold on to the 30th pick? But if you try to hold on to the 30th pick, then maybe Cleveland comes out of nowhere, and that, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's going to come down to, who blinks first, because Bronny's not a lottery pick. He's going to be, if he gets picked in the first round, which he probably shouldn't be, I just think that's the scary part. Who drafts him and how early? Because I'm sure Jeannie's probably telling Rob Pelinka, like, whatever our first round pick is, using on Bronny, and Rob Pelinka's like, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm just saying, if you want LeBron's services, then it might be as simple as that you're going to forfeit a first round pick. You're going to say, with the 15th pick in the draft, the Golden State Warriors take Bronny James. Boom. Just like that, LeBron's going to want out. Jeannie, being how she is, she'll let him out. She will. She'll understand that, because the card he has to play is, I've always wanted to play with my son. It's not a secret. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. The question is, though, once they're teammates and they play together, what does that look like? How good a player will Bronny? There's so much to that. And is it harder for Bronny James being a teammate of his father's rather than, because that's a lot. That's a lot. LeBron is he's a huge presence in any locker room. I'm just saying that every time Bronny makes a mistake, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna feel that guy's searing eyes on you. So I wonder if Bronny wants it as much as his dad does. Maybe he wants to just go out on his own and figure things out that way.
It's going to make the NBA draft must-see TV.
It will, because guys, let's be fair, guys who are better players than Bronny James, they may get drafted behind him. They may, look, this is a real strategic thing. Somebody's going to spend a first-round pick on Bronny James, and they're going to spend it thinking, we get Bronny, we get Bron. That's what it's about. And the only question is, like you said, you made a great point. LeBron's not going to go to Atlanta. I don't care if they get Bronny. LeBron's going to tell Bronny, like, we'll try to force a trade or whatever. But I know where I'm not. He's not going to Atlanta. He's not going to Philly. Wherever his son goes, it's going to be somewhere where LeBron also knows, I've got a shot to make one more run. You put LeBron James with Steph Curry, you can make one more run.
And that becomes the intriguing part, because Let's say Boston doesn't get it done this season. They don't win a title. Would LeBron James put them over the hump? I don't know.
Man, would he
Maybe.
wear that? Would he wear the Celtics gear? Like, I know he's played for a few teams, but that would be intriguing, right?
Right?
Like, you send LeBron there to play with Tatum and Brown. That would be well, you make a great point. Let's say if they don't get it done, it means that they're missing something, right? They're missing. I don't know if it's leadership or something to that nature. You do look at a LeBron and go, well, let's bite the bullet and draft Bronny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll draft Bronny, we'll trade Derek White or something like that. We'll make some cap
because they're gonna have to move something to get up there to get him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if they're willing to make that sacrifice, I mean, and that's what you're looking at, because whatever team, no one, and this is so terrible to say, Mo, no one's drafting Bronny because they think he's going to be a great player. Like, it just is what it is. He's not projected, at least right now, to be an all-star in the NBA. So if you're going to draft him in the first round, you're drafting him because you want LeBron on your team. And if you want LeBron on your team, it's one of two reasons. Either you're a bad team and you want to sell tickets. He's not going to a bad team.
He's not.
Or you're a good team and you're trying to get over the hump, and you think that a year or two of LeBron is going to potentially get you to the NBA Finals. And if you are a team like Boston, Philly is probably going to have the conversation because, again, dominant team in the regular season, playoffs roll around, doesn't go their way. You're going to have these teams that have those conversations of, would he come here? And if he did come here, could it be exactly what we needed to get into the NBA Finals? Those are going to be real conversations. And what sucks is now the backstory to all this is the kid. The one who's the reason this is all happening,
right,
is Bronny James.
Right.
For those first couple of years, he is going to be the secondary story unless he comes out and shines, which I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to come out and electrify. So the story is going to be LeBron's new team. Can LeBron win another title with another team? That would be his fourth team winning a championship with. That's going to be the headline. And Mo, you just talked about it. That's a lot for a kid starting his NBA career when you just kind of want to fulfill your dad's lifelong dream. Right. And now for a year or two, you literally don't matter. That's tough.
It's tough. I think how polarizing this becomes. You said it. The draft is going to be must see more than ever. And there's the added element of LeBron becomes in play, right? Because I do think, let's say the Lakers come up short this season. I think his future with the Lakers is kind of like dependent upon how deep a run they make, because I think he's considering his mortality and going, I want to make one more run. And it seems like no matter what I do here, it's just not enough. So he might be looking to move on to greener pastures anyway. I just think there's so many side stories to this. There's Bronny's, the element of Bronny, his father, and all the other teams that are going to be playing games of chess draft night.
Mo, great show on a Friday. Close us out, sir.
Hey, thank you guys so much for joining Chris and I this morning. Make sure you check out all the great content that we have at the Wire to Wire Network. We appreciate you guys. You've already listened, like, sub, follow. Any kind of support is much appreciated. Wire to Wire Network. Check us out.
We'll be back here on Monday. We'll have a breakdown of everything that is happening currently with the Masters. I'm trying to look at it right now. Tiger is +1 on the course, which means he is +2 so far today. Not as great of a start as we saw yesterday. Hopefully he can rebound. We just need him to make the cut. We need to see Tiger on Sunday. That's all I'm saying. So make sure you're checking that out. All of that and more. Coffee and Sports. It's the morning show powered by Wire to Wire Network. And we